There is a theme emerging from the respective capitals of the U.S. and Britain, demanding that several nations embrace democracy, or more accurately, their version of it. While this may appear laudable on its face, it flies in the face of a history that those governments wish us all to ignore. Democracy isn't a concern of either the White House or Downing Street. It wasn't in Iraq except as a post hoc justification for their campaign of devastation, and it's not in Zimbabwe. Truth be told, these governments could care less about the people in either country, or quite a few others, come to think of it. A brief glance at how Western democracies have used their money and undercover agencies to undermine democracies. Think of the military junta in power in Myanmar. In the old days, when it was called Burma, democracy activist Aung San Suu Kyi's father and most of his confidants were knocked off, assassinations aided by British intelligence. Britain, during its expansive age of empire, controlled the lives of millions of Africans and Asians all across the world. In none of their colonies did they support the very notion of democracy. It considered a young democracy activist and lawyer named Mahatma Gandhi so dangerous that they threw him into prison. When a brutal military dictatorship seized power in Greece, two Western powers backed them from 1967 to 1974, the U.S. and Britain. When the Italian fascist leader Mussolini seized power, the words of Britain's Sir Winston Churchill are important to ponder. Quote, "It is quite absurd to suggest that the Italian government does not rest upon popular bases, or that it is not upheld by the active and practical assent of the great masses." Unquote. How many Americans know that Iran had a Western-style democracy way back in the 1950s, but that the U.S. supported a dictator known as the Shah? The Shah's brutality against Iranians led to the rise of the Islamic Revolution and was the genesis of the present clergy-controlled state. In Africa, the picture isn't much brighter. When Patrice Lumumba was elected Prime Minister of the Congo, his administration was undermined by both the U.S. and the UN. For more than a generation, the Congo lived under the Western-supported kleptocracy of Mobutu, who became one of the richest men in the world by selling the wealth of his nation to Belgium and the United States. From the West's perspective, democracy is just a word to open doors to their exploitation of other countries. The U.S. has overthrown more democracies than any nation on earth. Indeed, if they've shown anything, it is that both governments have a talent for ignoring the will of their own populations. They give democracy a bad name. From Death Row, this is Mumia Abu-Jamal. These commentaries are produced by Noel Hanrahan for Prison Radio.